Now, we all know the proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. Now, the Youth Nations Leadership Movement is putting that into practice. The organization is hosting a 4-day summer camp for preteens and teenagers. Its aim is to help shape dynamic leaders and thinkers from a young age. Well, joining us in the studio to speak about this is Youth Nations Leadership Movement founder Tessa Pule. Tessa, good morning. Thank you very much for coming in.
Morning, Dan. Thank you for having me.
It must take a lot to put together a youth camp, especially under COVID-19 conditions. Why are you doing this, and how has it been for you?
It has been quite short of a nightmare because we have about 7 camps throughout the school calendar the whole year. And this is now only our first camp instead of the 7th, which has been the last. It's been a struggle because you have to convince parents that our campsite is safe, and it is. It's remote. We've had to slash our numbers to about 1/3 of our capacity, purely for COVID. And it has been one of the most important ones that I wanted to happen because the kids have been stuck at home for the longest time, which actually helped me come up with a theme, which is young, wild, and free.
What is Youth Nations Leadership Movement about, really? Just very briefly, just to share with our viewers.
Very briefly, it's to teach kids the ability to have critical reasoning and to be able to pivot in whatever situations that they face. So as parents, we all want the best for children, but we don't have the ability to give them an all-round experience for those things.
So how many such camps you normally have in a year? But you said 7?
6 to 7, yes.
Now you only have 1. This is the first one. And how many young people will take part normally?
Normally we have about 80 to 120 kids, and we only have maximum, including staff, 40 this year.
Because of coronavirus. Okay, the theme this year, you say, is wild and free.
Young, wild, and free.
Young, wild, and free. Why? I mean, young people have not been that free.
Exactly.
The world has not been that free this particular year.
And as a teenager, being held in a room or at home and watching all the family dynamics that as adults we've been faced to deal with. Children, from all the reports in the year, have forgotten what it feels like to be outside and playing and carefree. They're always now masked, and there's too many protocols and red tape for them to be. So when I say we're doing this camp this way, is so they can play in mud, run around, have real emotional development questions answered, and just remember that actually life is more than just about being quarantined.
Now, you don't even think that technology assisted some of the young people, the teenagers, to get something out during lockdowns? I mean, by making video clips or communicating that with Insta Lives, you don't think that was good enough? Or you're talking about really being out and about?
Really being up and about. I mean, that helped them because they created networks, but we're human beings and we're physical beings, and it is the experience that shapes the mind.
So what's going to be happening in this camp of, reduced to 40, including everybody? It's just a tiny camp. So what is going to be included in this young, wild and free camp? So
this year we're going zip lining for everybody to face their fears again. We're going canoeing to get out back into nature. There's a beautiful hike planned. Our campsite is at the Spirit of Adventure in KZN, which is amazing, close to the Shongweni Dam. And inspired by my nephew and my niece, they're like, okay, Auntie Tess, we need to speak about substance abuse, right? So it's a big topic, from drugs to alcohol, because when kids are at home, they get up to stuff.
Well, we are hearing now about these rage parties that have gone wrong, and Dr. Mkhize warning parents and everybody to be very mindful because they are super spreaders of COVID-19. So besides physical activity, you mentioned that there will be EQ discussions about what they've been through. So you're going to have special sessions or like workshops with the young ones?
Yes, especially for the boys. There is an assumption that men get imported from another planet, but the boys are raised in society. Yeah. And with issues of GBV having skyrocketed, we're very much focused on having very specific sessions about what that looks like, where it comes from, and what appropriate behavior should be with both sexes and not just only the boys. But I have a 16-year-old nephew, and there's things that he needs to know, whereas my sister might not be able to have that conversation with him.
Okay, what other topics? Because you're starting next week, Wednesday, the 16th of December to the 20th, and it's already done. People have booked, and it's already sold.
Well, no, you can still apply. We only have 10 slots left.
10 slots left.
So
okay, how do people get in touch with you, parents who's watching and thinking, okay, I think my nephew or my niece or my son needs to go here?
You just go on www.ynlm.co.za.
Young Nations Leadership Movement, YNL.
Yeah.
.coza.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the registration form pops up when you just complete.
Age groups, you said preteens and teenagers?
So we've got 10 to 12, 13 to 15, 16 to 18, 19 to 21, 4 separate groups.
How have you guaranteed their safety?
They sleep they'll be sleeping 2 in a lodge. The camp, we have hired like an 80-seater bus, so even driving down to KZN and back again is sorted. Each child has to come with a COVID test before they even board the bus, 48 hours before. We have a nurse that we travel with to all our camps, and all our counselors are like level 4 first aid.
Why are you doing this? I must ask again. I'm just asking because as you are talking, an 80-seater bus with 40 people, but they don't charge you for 40
No.
passes. They charge you the full price,
Yes.
as an example. I mean, really, what is driving you in this quest of ensuring that the young minds are fed properly?
Because children are our future. We have absolutely no hope unless we do well by the next generation. And I know it's cliche, but it's the truth. When I'm 80 years old, my fund manager will be 20, 30, 40 years younger than me. And if I haven't done my bit to help my social village grow and think critically and for the nation, I got nobody to blame.
What I'd like to do, if possible, after this camp, because this camp is taking place in a very interesting time in the whole world, South Africa, okay? A very difficult time for all of us. We're still in the midst of the pandemic. I would like to talk about the outcomes, what actually happened. It would be very interesting to be able to find out what really happened. And good luck with the final preparations. And of course, that website is ynlm.coza. People can check out there for the 10 remaining slots.
Yes,
Tessa, all the best. We salute you on your good work. It's not easy, but we need to do the work. Somebody has to help our young people have a better future.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Tessa Pule there from YNLM, Youth Nations Leadership Movement. 10 more seats. Well, if you want your preteen or your teenager to go out and learn something new and help them to be young, wild and free, check out that website.